Oh, yeah. What's up, y'all? It's your boy, the one and only A Switch, aka the 50-time social distance, if I could say it, the 50-time social distancing world champion, aka the Butter Biscuit Bandit, aka the barista. Fuck. Well, just gonna let that marinate. Bringing you yet another episode of Switches Sites, the gaming podcast where I do talk about that gaming and pretty much everything related to that. If maybe things sound a bit different or unusual, it's because I am doing something totally different, experimental, if you will. Actually, I don't think I talked about it last episode, but at least towards the end of last week, there's been a just amazing discovery within technology that was made. Huge leaps, maybe to the scale of transporting, floating cars. Maybe not that much, but close. Which is RTX voice, which is just this amazing, astounding, like mind-blowing achievement, I'd have to say, especially for somebody in my particular scenario where I do have a lot of noisy items around. And Jesus, this is a literal game changer, if anything, for sure, hands down. It really is. So yeah, basically what it does is basically AI software that basically works to eliminate a lot of background noise, and basically just like literally, from everything I've heard, keeps your voice intact without barely any noticeable manipulation in terms of like trying to compromise your voice in the process of trying to tune out the other noises and stuff. It is like literally mind blowing. At least when I saw it was like this super viral tweet, I assume by now, where this one YouTuber I do actually watch and follow, Barnacles, where he had a straight up demonstration where he had the RTX voice on, had it going, and then kept was knocking the hell out of his table with a hammer, had this huge ass fan, and nothing. And he sounded just as if he didn't even have that on, which was just crazy to me. He then got even more extreme. He's like, he put like leaf blowers in the equation, which is like, that's probably the most extreme. And it was like still crazily accurate, and you could barely hear any like compromise in terms of voice quality, within reason, which is, obviously very impractical, but nonetheless, it was very amazing. And then a lot of other tech YouTubers were following suit. I saw like Linus Tech Tips and stuff where they demonstrated, and geez, like fire alarms in general. It is crazy, and it's such an amazing and a very appreciated advancement in technology that I have to address, which especially for this summer, a lot of AC units that tend to be pretty loud. In my particular predicament, it's going to be essential, and that's admittedly at least the reason why I've been avoiding streaming in particular, since I do have a lot of technology in my room that tends to add heat, and trying to record something or stream in general without AC is like basically a nightmare and very inconvenient, and just overall just huge hassle. And at least from what I've been testing so far, man, this is a damn godsend, man. Literally, it is crazy. So if anything, this is a straight up full blown test of RTX voice. Um, you have to supposedly you have to have a RTX card, which is like the 2200 series and up. But at least for me, there's basically a hack online, or pretty simple hack to be honest, where you can basically get it to work with 10 series and 9 series cards, which fortunately I have. I think anything less than that, you're kind of SOL. But yeah, from my scenario where I have a 1080 Ti and 980, they both work pretty swell. So yeah, this is just a testament to the greatness that is RTX voice, which is at least now going to be a big staple. I'll at least touch on one minor gripe so far, if any, but that's kind of maybe at least particular to my setup, which is basically I have my Go XLR, and I have basically the RTX voice. Well, essentially, whatever your mic is, it goes through RTX voice. So basically, how I have it is I have my Go XLR, which is basically pretty much the whole broadcast mix, and I have that go through RTX voice, which works pretty good. But the only caveat is that, at least with my particular setup with the Go XLR, you have to, you can't play music or any like audio sounds for the most part. It'll just still do and focus on your voice. So if you have like music, which you maybe like I do personally when I'm doing some streams to play in the background, it will cut that out completely. So you have to do some magic otherwise, which maybe is kind of a testament to Go XLR, where maybe there would be a cool option where you can just dedicate specifically a mic option to modify that, and then just specifically have the mic source be modified some way. But very minor gripe and understandable gripe if anything, but would be cool to kind of, you know, not have to deal with that. But when you kind of look on the other end, it's like when you have music, it does help to kind of drown out maybe some of the background noise anyway. So kind of give and take, kind of a measurement, if you will. But it is one acknowledgement, particularly if you have a Go XLR setup. So huge ass rant. Well, not rant, but I guess I don't know, explanation. But I felt it was somewhat legitimate, at least especially at the start of this, to kind of at least give a preface, unless I just sound straight trash, I guess. But if anything, from what I noticed, it is like a dream compared to previously not having this. Huge improvement in life. So without further ado, let's stop the dilly dallying and get into it. A lot of news came out this week. So yeah, let's tackle a lot of it. First topic of discussion. So boy, yeah, with Last of Us, you know, previously like a month, not even a month, like within this month, they did, you know, say that the game was indefinitely delayed indefinitely with no particular release date. But then it's still unknown how it happened or who is responsible. But yeah, people can't have nice things, I guess. But basically, somebody fully leaked all of The Last of Us Part 2. I believe in particular the cutscenes. And I think somebody translated that and did a whole dissertation on like Reset Era, basically divulging everything about it. So yeah, and you know me, I'm dodging the hell out of those. Got all my muted all particular related words on Twitter and everything. I wasn't taking any chances at all. Not at the least. So it was very weird because basically like this was like I think last weekend, and then weirdly enough, like what, the Monday, was it Monday? Yeah, the Monday after, Sony had an official announcement that The Last of Us is coming out in June 19th, as well as Ghost of Tsushima, which was supposed to, I believe, originally come out at the same time in June, but that's getting pushed back to July 17th to be particular. So it's a little weird coincidence, if anything, or maybe to try to I don't know, damage control, like, you know, hey, not too long until The Last of Us 2 comes out, guys, so you have to wait until June, and then hey, you can play it, whatever, have fun, you know, play your heart out, what have you. But I don't know, it's a little weird coincidence that after that major leak of the game that they did announce actual release dates for these games. But either way, it is set to release in June, so good stuff for The Last of Us. So I think that weirdly comes around the anniversary of the first game, I think, on PS3 when that originally came out. So it's kind of weird events, if anything. So and I guess in more of the kind of the explanation of the leak, apparently I think it started which is not valid, and I guess is suspected to not be true, that there was some disgruntled employee that was very unhappy and angry, and then out of spite just leaked all this information. Apparently that's not true, and it's still kind of unknown how it happened, that it may actually be somebody outside of the company that managed to take and leak all that information. So it is very weird, to say the least. Soul situation, it's not, I mean of course it's not understandable, because like that's messed up, man. Just a whole team's like years of work just all somewhat kind of tarnished because somebody was you know, more than likely angry in one way, shape, or form. Maybe they heard about the indefinite release and they're like, you know what, F this, I'm gonna leak it and everybody's gonna know now because it's been ruined for everybody or something. But kind of yeah, just weird all around. But nonetheless, at least we'll definitely know and have our verdict of the game come June 19th. Then there's like kind of murmurs about people saying, like, based off what they heard, it is horrible in terms of what they've seen. But then it's like, you can't even, the game isn't even released yet, so it's like you can't even make any judgment off that the footage maybe you might have seen was like unfinished, or maybe a previous build, more than likely. So it's like you can't even make those like assumptions either. So on top of just going off of more than likely, I believe, cutscenes, what they were saying. So it's like it's all bad in this scenario. But in terms of Naughty Dog, they did straight up address it for the most part. You know, somewhat kind of weirdly insensitive, depending on how you perceive it, comment, and I'll quote, "We know the last few days have been incredibly difficult for you. We feel the same. It's disappointing to see the release and sharing of pre-release footage from development. Do your best to avoid spoilers, and we ask that you don't spoil it for others. The Last of Us Part 2 will be in your hands soon. No matter what you see and hear, the final experience will be worth it. Naughty Dog." So yeah, I mean, I've heard some people are kind of seeing this as insensitive, which I can see that angle, where it's like, you know, there's obviously a more kind of imminent threat currently with our current situation with the pandemic going on and stuff, that it's kind of hard to, like, you know, this is like a ant among the sea, or a fish among the sea. I don't know the term, you know what I mean. So for what that's worth. But yeah, that's unfortunate, but at least insightful news. Definitely, I am ducking and dodging spoilers like my life depends on it. Call me freaking Jason Bourne, John Wick. I'm ducking and dodging. I got the gun CQC tactics. I'm ready to break somebody's neck if they come at me incorrectly. Let's just let that be clear. All right. Moving on. So looks like, well, I guess big surprise, those leaks for Assassin's Creed, at least the code name, which, what was it called? Assassin's Creed Ragnarok. I believe that's like somewhat the popular code name that was going around. Actually, surprise, was actually pretty much true. So basically, earlier in the week, it was some more details were getting leaked. But then Ubisoft finally came out with it and released a trailer actually today for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which is, it looks to be, obviously it's basically Assassin's Creed North mythology. We're in somewhat in a Norse period to some extent. From what I got, I saw the trailer. It looked pretty interesting. Looked pretty cool actually. It was like, I can at least say I'm not the biggest fan of Assassin's Creed, but my like feeling sentiments on a game is that like, I mean, if it's on sale, I'll pick it up and, you know, eventually play it. But at least this one, it was like, maybe if I see some gameplay, I might, this might be actually getting there to be maybe possibly day one, if anything. But yeah, the trailer was pretty dope. It was pretty damn dope. You got a pretty good sense of what the game is gonna be like. I'm not gonna spoil it, but yeah, it was pretty great overall. But yeah, it was basically essentially Assassin's Creed with Vikings, which is a pretty interesting concept. Obviously, I think a lot of people, and it writes itself, but I think that's it's Ubisoft's, like, you know, in case of emergency break glass component, I'm guessing. Assassin's Creed in like Asia, the feudal period in Japan. You know, ninjas, Assassin's Creed ninjas. That's the one. That's gonna be the one I'll day one. That would definitely be a day one purchase for me, for sure. But yeah, going back to this, yeah, it looks pretty good. They didn't show any gameplay. It was just all, you know, pre-rendered CGI, what have you. But looks pretty cool. It's it doesn't seem to be too far from what we're expecting for Assassin's Creed. It looks like they did actually have some gameplay screenshots at least, but they do seem to hint a lot at like the Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, what? If I could say it right, Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag kind of ship mechanics. I'm assuming that's gonna be in there to some extent, because it's like, it was a pretty great system, I have to say. I thoroughly enjoyed it playing 4, which I do have a lot of catching up to do. That's the last one I think I technically played. But yeah, and then I guess Skull and Bones, whenever that comes out, probably they're maybe taking whatever improvements that are going to be in that, I assume. But overall, I'm interested. I want to see some gameplay first, but overall, hey, makes sense. Kratos is going to be exclusive for the PS4. I'm waiting for that Kratos DLC. I am. Boy, get over, boy. Moving on. Oh, one actual aspect too is that they did announce, at least for Series X, at least how they've already established how it is, that it will have smart delivery, which is basically the keyword smart, the way it will install the game if you have Xbox One X, Series X, what have you. So it'll install it properly either way, considering whatever console you have. So it basically is suggesting, in addition, it'll be cross-platform, and obviously with the PS5 as well. So I'm not sure if Stadia is included. It is. It is that. Yeah. PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One Series X, Xbox One, Stadia. So there you go. Moving on. Of course, the aftermath of the greatness that is Final Fantasy VII Remake. We all, at least if you definitely played the game, beat the game by now, you know that it is going to be in parts or segmented, where the first game pretty much ended around where ended at Midgar, and then presumably the next game is going to take place where the original game does. In regards to that, Tetsuya Nomura, the person probably notably made famous for Kingdom Hearts in general, said that basically he's going to or he keyword supposedly the game is going to be way quicker to make. Well, I guess he's depending on how to do it. So let me go straight from the horse's mouth. In particular, this was via an interview from Final Fantasy VII Remake Ultimania, which I believe is somewhat of a fan book, if anything. Basically, quote, "We wanted to have the last boss fight." Wait a minute. I don't want to spoil anything. Let me check. Yeah, so if we divide Final Fantasy VII Remake into larger parts, it'll take longer to make. Faster development if parts are smaller. So it's still not necessarily concrete what that could lead to, but basically it they can either go the longer route or the shorter route, which, you know, yeah, I mean, we waited what, 10 years? It was officially announced in 2015, so what, 5 years for this game? What's another 5? I mean, hey, if I'm in that wheelchair. I'm on that cane. As long as I can still play it in my lifetime, the whole series of my lifetime, it would be appreciated. But I don't know. With any time frame expectations, you can always take it's like we have Jamaican time, you know, in Jamaica, where, you know, their philosophy and stuff. There's got to be something for like Square Enix time, where, you know, things that maybe is like 3 years is maybe 5 years, 2 years is maybe 4, so on and so forth. But interesting insight either way, depending on which way they go. I assume they started working on the other aspect of the game after they kind of finished up production, but who knows? But at least I found that pretty insightful to kind of, you know which way they may be going, at least in the future. Moving on though. Of course, the platform currently loved by all and everyone, Google Stadia. They had their press event, or Nintendo Direct, but Stadia Connect, as they like to call it, this past Tuesday, and not too much necessarily revealed. Nothing too surprising. It's definitely obviously a lot of ports. Probably the biggest one was PUBG, as well as mentioning that it's going to be crossplay. But outside of that, nothing that really necessarily stood out. That was like, you got to get a Stadia now. Not really. If anything, it would be for something that's already out on other platforms, which I already mentioned, which was PUBG. There was the one game, I think, by the same people that made Overcooked. I forgot what it's called, but it's basically Overcooked, but with people moving boxes. It was something else. Let's do a quick reference check. It's just so cool. RTX voice cannot like pick up me typing on my blue mechanical keyboard. This is great. This is greatness right now. Love to see it. No, I don't want to play Stadia. Stadia, no. And yeah, it probably goes a testament to how much the games appealed to me, as I don't remember majority of them, or they didn't at least stand out to me. Let's see. Okay, so Creta, which is first on Stadia. I don't even remember that. Get Packed. Okay, so Get Packed was the game I was talking about, basically Overcooked but moving the moving version of Overcooked. Wave Break, that seemed kind of cool. I think it was like some little bears doing like stunts in a boat. Ember, which firefighting game, I don't even remember that one. Zombie 4, Dead War, never played it, but somewhat familiar with it. Octopath Traveler, actually that was a pretty big one, and that's like a perfect game for Stadia, considering the turn-based mechanics of it. That, if anything, that'd probably be one I'd be interested in. But I mean, I've already got it for Switch, haven't even played on Switch, so I mean, yeah. Again, a lot of this is stuff that's already been released somewhere else. But yeah, definitely the biggest one is PUBG. But it's like playing just doesn't seem right, considering the lag, unavoidable lag for something like this. But who knows, maybe it's different, maybe they made improvements. But that was another thing too, that they announced that everybody's getting 2 additional free months of Stadia Pro, I believe that's their terminology, where you can play it as a if you had already, you get 2 months at it, or if you're new to the platform, you'll get it as well. So that's somewhat of a goodwill, if anything. But yeah, yeah, they still got a lot of work ahead of them if they want to do any game changers. That specifically, of course, definitely need some exclusives. So all in all, yeah, they just meh, very meh right now. So I've yet to even, it's been a minute since I've even messed with it. Some point eventually, but I don't even know. At least sticking with console/platform news, Xbox Series X, they did announce that there is going to be an event May 7th, next Thursday, where presumably this might be what they were planning to do at E3, and maybe just jump the gun. It's definitely perfect timing. If anything, we'll most likely probably get price, release date, and then obviously, like they already mentioned, games. So it's becoming a reality. It's starting to get more solidified, and I'm ready for it. At least somewhat piggybacking off that. At least, I mean, I don't know. When Jason Schreier obviously is a very credible person, resource, in regards to the PlayStation 5 reveal, who knows if they just running with it. But hey, I mean, he knows people, he knows top men, and did say that the PlayStation 5 reveal is a few weeks away, which would make definitely a lot of sense, especially considering Xbox is going first. So boy, it's kind of like the ball's in their court really now, which was the same predicament they were in before, at least last generation. So Xbox can make themselves look real good or real bad, but either way, they're still in a kind of messed up predicament going first, depending on what they are gonna present. So whew, it's coming May 7th. Get ready. Yeah, this is it's weird. It's hard to grasp. I mean, I definitely respect what Xbox is doing so far, and this is totally detaching myself as being like a pretty big fan of the out of the 2 consoles in a lot of aspects. But just them being very transparent, and very self-aware of kind of, just the travesty that was the Xbox One initially. Definitely utmost respect to Phil Spencer in terms of like overall just, handling this whole process rollout, if anything. Just a bold announcement at the Game Awards, which nobody, including myself, expected at all. To now, well, also bringing people to actually have the console dissected and kind of get that whole angle of everything. Having people actually that aren't biased kind of form opinions and discuss the console, and compared to PlayStation, which is at least in the pedestal to do so, at least just not giving us nothing except a controller that I'm not personally in favor of until we actually see it in action or see other color options. So all in all, it's gonna get crazy, at least in May, it seems like. So presumably, possibly, maybe we might get both PS5 and Xbox Series X solid details next month, and that's gonna be pretty interesting, to say the least. Moving on, apparently Perfect Dark might be coming back if a tweet from I believe a developer from Xbox Game Studios is true. Basically, it's a LinkedIn posting, which definitely always reveals a lot of information regarding upcoming stuff and projects. That basically the unannounced project at the initiative, quote, unannounced project at the initiative, runs on Unreal Engine 4 and features various weapons, gadgets, and a camera surveillance. Can I even say it? Camera surveillance. I think that's right. Maybe I'm just dwelling on that. Camera surveillance system. This makes sense given most of the Xbox Game Studios work with the same engine to share tech and knowledge. So, I mean, it's hard to not say that's Perfect Dark, which has all of those various weapons of very interesting, engaging degrees. You got a double blast shotgun, laptop gun that you can acts as a machine gun, but you can mount it as a turret. See-through, I believe, Farsight, which is a see-through sniper rifle that shoots through walls. I mean, you don't get any more various weapons / gadgets and surveillance system than that. I mean, camera surveillance, you could do that in Perfect Dark. Yeah, and then I think there has been kind of murmurs about Perfect Dark coming back too, which definitely, I definitely big fan of Perfect Dark, so I definitely would like to see it come back. Considering people were pretty lukewarm on Perfect Dark Zero, I enjoyed it. I had a good time with it. Kind of having it's got to be some turn for people that get a brand new console, and maybe the games that come with it, the new games that come on launch with it, may not be the best examples of the prowess of the new console, but you just have that, I don't know, new console freshness eyes on you, where you just are really fascinated by just the console and having a utter appreciation for it. But I mean, I really like the gameplay, but hey, again, may have just been that new console feel, where you may be a little bit your opinions may be a little bit heightened in favor of the console, if otherwise Perfect Dark Zero coming out 2-3 years after the console released or something like that. But then that would lead probably to the game maybe being better than it was. Who knows? So, but I digress. So, yeah. Who knows? Maybe this could be one of the games that gets announced at the next week. Get a nice little solid teaser. Joanna Dark You know, maybe teasing. No, they wouldn't do that. I thought it'd be something like Joanna Dark would be talking to like James Bond. But James Bond we'll know. But then, he talked to, who's this? It's Joanna Dark. I don't. That was my best English accent. It's horrible. I'm sorry. So cool if true. Cool if true. But I mean, hey, that's a LinkedIn post. I mean, how solidified can you get there? Moving on. Keeping in with that next or new possible game rumors. Well, actually, it's pretty much solidified. This is via Video Game Central, or no, Video Games Chronicle.com. They basically are saying that Guerrilla Games is planning a Horizon Zero Dawn trilogy, at least with the latter games, including co-op and a larger scope than the first Horizon, which I've still yet to play, but pretty interesting either way. I guess I don't really have a good frame of reference since I haven't played the first one. I have it, but I haven't played it. I plan to fix that soon. But yeah, co-op. Larger scope is understandable. Obviously, you want a larger scope than the original game. So interesting. Well, I guess it seems like maybe possibly Killzone is not in the works. They could probably be developing both, maybe, possibly. But hopefully 2 doesn't release this year, cause I got a bet riding on it. But boy, please don't release it yet. Thank you. Next topic of discussion. So apparently PUBG is getting bots to the console version, at least. I believe this is the case with Fortnite. I think if maybe the numbers are low enough or some weird algorithm, I've heard some things about if when you start out with the game, you play like maybe your first 10 games, you're getting matched with bots, and then after that you get matched with real people or something like that. But at least for console, for PUBG, which will kind of make sense considering now that they're bringing a Stadia fan base to what 1,500 people maybe of Stadia folks. And I mean, considering PUBG's kind of stance amongst the battle royale games, even though it was the grandfather of the genre in general. Yeah, it seems like it is most likely. So apparently, where is this? I believe, yeah, this was via the dev letter from the Reddit station for PUBG. As I quote, "Hello, survivors. As happens with many games, we've seen the general skill level of our players grow significantly over the last 3 years. While PUBG veterans continue to hone their skills and improve, we're seeing more often that many newer players are being eliminated early with no kills, and oftentimes with no damage dealt. You've been telling us for a while that the widening skill gap is creating a more and more challenging environment for some of our players, and we're now ready to talk about our plan to help this. In an effort to provide more ways for players to hone their skills and be able to fully enjoy what PUBG has to offer, we've decided to introduce bots with Update 7.1. Bots can have both positive and negative effects on a game depending on how well it's programmed. So let's go over some of the things we've been considering when programming these artificial aggressors. Not going to go into all of the rest, but basically that's the gist. So it seems like based on an algorithm, I guess, in terms of maybe I guess kind of in line with what I was talking about, that maybe when you're starting out, you'll probably more than likely get matched with bots, and then as you start playing more games, then you'll start getting matched with real people. Which, if that's the case, I think that's totally fine. I think it's like, kind of like training wheels, especially for this type of game, which in my personal experience, I found to be at times can be pretty discouraging. Um, Somewhat in the same realm as like fighting games, like, if you don't know how to do like a 5-hit combo versus somebody who's practicing all these setups, frame traps, and what have you, is going to be pretty damn discouraging for somebody starting out to, one, be persistent and keep going at it, considering, the immense adversity of getting like your ass beat every match. And, I don't think anybody will find it fun to keep playing games and also investing your time in something. And then after doing said thing, consistently losing each time with no kind of concept or, glimmer of hope of improving. So, which, yeah, I have to say, yeah, I'm kind of someone in that boat with VR games specifically. I mean, I'm able to somewhat hold my own, but majority of the time, I don't know. It's like I'll get 1-2 kills, depending on the game, which is probably my most successful is Battle Royale, Call of Duty Warzone. I mean, and it's just like, it's hard to describe. It's just I understand the feelings that some players, newer players that want to jump in would get for, somebody that's super experienced. And then obviously you get people on the other side of the spectrum that are like, hey man, I'm getting tired. I hate skill-based matchmaking. Let me just pub and just freaking own everybody in this games so we could get all these 75 kill matches so I could post it on YouTube, whatever. I'm totally projected stuff, but basically there are those people that are, somewhat elitist that, don't like matchmaking. And then there's people maybe that are probably on the lower end of the spectrum that do like matchmaking because, you don't get completely obliterated in a match versus, having a pretty reasonable competitive match than like, one person being above and kind of vice versa, which is of course fun for the higher skilled person, but for the lower skilled person, it's a damn nightmare. So depending on how they implement it, I think it could definitely work. If it's just specifically for training the person or training a player, I'd say I'm definitely all for it. But if it's in this weird, kind of gets placed in some games, kind of doesn't, that's where I think, experienced players have more ground to, kind of have issue with it. So it's kind of unknown how it is gonna, I don't know, manifest based off what they're saying, but I would assume it's kind of that of the latter, where basically for people starting out. So we'll see. But thought it was interesting topic to bring up in terms of how that changed the environment for uber pros that like to stomp other people. So I guess sticking with somewhat battle royale related news, I forgot to talk about it last episode, but apparently there was this dope ass concert of Travis Scott, which is I have to say, as somebody who's not the biggest fan of Fortnite, this is a pretty damn awesome event for a lot of reasons. It's definitely probably one of the biggest is just the kind of precedent it sets for kind of taking video games as a medium going forward in terms of, basically being more respected, more established than it kind of is in a lot of aspects. But just seeing some of the videos on YouTube and stuff and Twitter, seeing the experience of the player just firsthand is just like a whole new kind of way to experience a concert, which is pretty dope, man. It's pretty cool. I have to give respect to Epic for doing this and pulling it off. And I believe they said they managed to do all this at home, which is crazy in of itself. So wow, man. And I think it was like a astonishing amount of people, 12 million people at once attending on Fortnite, attending this concert. It's crazy. Just being able to do something of that scale, considering all the resources that are needed for that server wise, I guess mostly is just crazy. But yeah, God, I had to acknowledge that. It is mind blowing how they were able to pull that off in general. And I think that's the highest it's ever been. And then on top of that, I think it was pretty big as well on streaming platforms. I think it was weirdly enough bigger on YouTube than Twitch at the time. Mixer had like a very respectable 5,000. I don't know. Obviously, it's probably lower than any of those platforms, but yeah, pretty cool. It's just really cool to see stuff as our medium is evolving in terms of it being more respected and regarded as a legitimate platform that competes with movies and music and stuff like that. So you love to see it. You love to see it. Going into somewhat we going a little back into rumor territory. So apparently via Rely on Horror, Resident Evil 2's Claire, the actress for her, Stephanie Hensiello, hints at a new RE game with Claire. So this could be taken a lot of ways. Obviously, I think myself and a lot of other people would want this to be Code Veronica. And let me preface with her comment before. This was in an interview specifically. Yeah, so it was a particular quote that she said. So also, Resident Evil 3 cast, hello. I know I didn't know you guys personally, although I do feel like I've worked with one of you, but I think it's a project that hasn't come out yet, so I won't say anything. So that kind of eliminates what people were suspecting, that it might be Claire being a character for Project Resistance, which I think a lot of us were speculating and kind of being very, pessimistic, realistic about it. But that kind of eliminates that to some extent. So if anything, I'm guessing it might possibly be the rumored RE8, where there were people that there was the rumored inclusion of Crispian in the game, but it would only make sense that maybe somehow, obviously Claire being Chris's brother, that maybe she somehow gets involved in RE8 to some extent, considering they squashed the rumors completely for Code Veronica remake as of now. Freaking developing RE4 over RE Code Veronica, which is definitely the more deserving title, but I digress. So that's what I'm guessing is probably the more than likely inclusion. But she says she worked with one of you before, which I'm not sure how to interpret that, of who the person she was working with previously. But yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, it's hard to say, but my guess is probably the RE8. Probably she's somewhat roped in with Chris to some extent. They maybe have some dialogue or something. That's yeah, consider it's a new project. I'm pretty sure she was aware that um RE3 is included with RE Resistance. So I doubt it'd be Resistance. I guess it could be. Maybe she wasn't aware, but interesting topic, if anything. Obviously, we wish it was Code Veronica, but I'm tempering my expectations and considering somewhat of the valid evidence we do have of it not happening. It may not. So it is what it is. It is what it is. So yeah, I think that covers all the news for this week. Let's get in what I've been up to gaming wise. Obviously, do I have to say Call of Duty Modern Warfare? Been putting a reasonable amount of time into it. I don't think there's been any substantial updates since last time I talked about it, other than, you know, title updates and stuff like that. I've been going back to multiplayer. I haven't really been playing Battle Royale as much since then, but overall, it's just been very solid, like comfort food, man. Just like you just keep going to it because it's like solid. And then, you know, I don't feel like dedicating a lot of time to something. I just go ahead and play Modern Warfare and I get like a good fulfillment of playing something. Also was chucking at Final Fantasy VII Remake this over this past weekend. Playing hard mode now, beat it on normal. So now I'm trying to trudge through hard specifically. But it's tough. It's not so tough compared to which I streamed as well, doing the combat simulator challenges. But it's up there. I think at least playing that kind of prepared me to do the play in hard mode, doing the combat simulator challenges. So, you know, but all in all, I'm enjoying it. I put it down for a bit, but yeah, I definitely plan to possibly get back at it this weekend, but we'll see. Probably the biggest notable game though, I did actually get to play yesterday. Thanks to some trickery, maneuvering in terms of manipulation of some of the stores in other countries that do have access to the game. That is Streets of Rage 4. And boy, I beat it like twice last night. Have to say, man, it is very, very great beat 'em up. Very worthy Streets of Rage. Streets of Rage lineage, and just the improvements are very smart and just very welcomed. Not to spoil the story or anything, but just a lot of solid improvements, implementations they made to the game overall. Probably the one interesting one is that basically with the special system, like specifically Streets of Rage 1 and 2, where basically if you use a special, you automatically lose a section, a sliver of health. But in this one, Streets of Rage 4, basically you can use a special which will give you like red health, like kind of the equivalent of red health, or I forgot the term, but I think they just called it color and health, where basically it's health you can gain back, which is basically the same mechanic in this game, where basically if you use a special, it turns part of your health turns into green health, where basically you have to actually hit enemies enough to get all that back. But basically it's kind of a risk reward mechanic, which is pretty genius when you think about it, that after you do it and then you try to hit the characters, but if you don't get it all the way up to the max to get it all the way back, if somebody hits you like let's say halfway to gaining that health sliver back, then you'll lose all of it completely. So it's like very, very risky. But again, you're rewarded if you use it properly and are able to pull it off, which is really cool. Kind of gives you somewhat of a comeback type mechanic aspect as well. But I really like the just the thought and concept of that is just really cool. And probably the bigger improvement is the combo system. So now you can actually legitimately combo juggle enemies now, which is great. If you know me, you know I'm a sucker for probably juggles and parries, if anything, in fighting games and beat 'em ups in general. But love me some damn juggles, and this game has a lot of them. I've only played the game with Axel and Adam so far, but definitely plan to play with all of them and see how everybody plays and what new dynamics and combos you can kind of do. And this is like, I think this is a testament to like beat 'em ups now, where I wish they just give you a dedicated training mode, which they did in Streets of Fury, which is actually the developer that is involved in this game. You can definitely see a lot of the inspiration within this game. So it's definitely way more toned down than Streets of Fury, but it's definitely a lot of potential there still that it's somewhat kind of hidden. You can somewhat naturally discover a lot of it, but it's not like blatantly over the head or, you know, overstated, which I think is definitely a pretty good balance to have with, you know, not kind of overbearing, overpowering the lineage of this game, you know, in terms of the previous trilogy and stuff. So, but man, yeah, just the of course, the music is just fantastic, just great, excellent on all fronts, facets, what have you. It is just great, really is. And then of course you have the option to, you know, play the classic tracks from 1 and 2. I'm still confused why 3 isn't included, but I guess from when I was messing with the options, even though I haven't played with it yet, I believe they designate specific levels to specific tracks from 1 and 2, and I guess they mix and match and incorporate it. I'm assuming since you don't have the option, or at least I didn't see in the options, you can like modify what tracks plays on what level and things like that. So I guess that's maybe why they omitted 3, but would have liked to have 3, or maybe, you know, kind of like a Tekken Tunes option where you can, like, you know, adjust the you know, music for what stage you're playing on, which would have been cool. So yeah, part of that, yeah, without spoiling anything, yeah, it's thoroughly enjoying it. I really want to keep playing and discover new stuff and things like that. But yeah, man, if you're definitely a fan of Streets of Rage, beat 'em ups in general, really, this is definitely it. This is definitely it. I am have to say I'm very thankful for this somewhat semi resurgence of beat 'em ups, which I was kind of talking about on Twitter. That you know, within the last year we got the Ninja Warriors again. We got River City Girls. We got the Takeover, and then now we got Streets of Rage 4. I mean, last one we're waiting for is fight that's final. I mean, you know, Mayor Hagar, guy named Cody, a guy named Guy. You know, if maybe they were all able to come back, maybe some other characters, maybe formulate a fighting game that a lot of people also liked, enjoyed, that got Sega to make Streets of Rage. I don't know, maybe people might buy it, maybe people might want to play it, you know, I don't know. I mean, the characters are used a lot in Street Fighter V, but what about the series that was tied in with Street Fighter? It got a lot of characters from that said game. Would be kind of cool if, you know, we got a continuation of that, you know. And who knows? You know, maybe maybe a game by Capcom that maybe's Final Fight, you know, that has Mike Hagar and Cody and Guy. Just a suggestion, Capcom. I know you're busy churning out them hits, but just saying, now's a good time, you know. Embrace the beat 'em ups. Yeah, boy, I am definitely definitely want beat 'em ups. If we can get them, I definitely would like to see more beat 'em ups come on the scene for sure. Hopefully that becomes the case, because I want more. This game only made me hungry for more beat 'em ups for sure. So yeah, but outside of that, yeah, pretty much all I've been gaming at this since last episode. So of course, still been keeping up with outside of video games, keeping up with The Office. show is great, man. I understand the fervor and desire for that game now. I really do. Just the writing is very great. So probably preaching to the choir, but you know. But yeah, I think that will conclude yet another episode of Switches Sites, 53 to be exact. I'll say today's date. If not, it is April 30th, 2020. Yeah. So if you have any questions you'd like to submit to the show, feel free to submit them at aswitchtv@gmail.com. If I get enough, I may start a segment for that. Of course, you can catch me on Twitch TV/aswitch, where I record this podcast live for your viewing and or listening pleasure. Also, obviously, I've been actually playing games on Twitch again recently. Now, shoot, with this RTX voice, that's definitely been getting me to play now that I can play without, you know, detriment to quality in terms of like audio. So that's been great. What else? Oh yeah, you can also follow me on Twitter, where I'm just tweet ignorant dumb stuff, but also keep it still somewhat in line with you know, obviously gaming related topics and such. I can't even lie to y'all. It do be some dumb stuff over here. Dumb black Twitter stuff, but it's like somebody probably said it, kind of too white to be on black Twitter. I guess nerdy. Yeah, too white to be on black Twitter, but too black to be on nerdy Twitter. I don't think there is a nerdy Twitter, but you get what I'm saying. So if you're into that blend of black nerdiness, I guess, but not necessarily just nerdiness with a touch of black, however you interpret it, I don't know. Okay, you be the judge. What am I? I'm not sure I'm trying to promote this like any different what it is, I guess, but hopefully you pick up what I'm putting down. All right. Okay. Well, yeah, you can also catch me on youtube.com/Twitch. I can finally confidently now say that I have been starting to make, somewhat original content now. Actually, I think I dropped a, I think I released a dub of Resident Evil 3, where I basically just some dub in Nemesis if he actually had a voice, which I had it in my mind for a long time, but I never just I just, it was a lot of mental barriers that were not getting me to do it in terms of software to actually get that going, as well as like the dynamics of recording it and all that. So lo and behold, as a testament, I can confidently say now today, I actually managed to do it and just speak dumb stuff for Nemesis. So yeah, also, like I've been saying before, I did upload like some of my archive stuff that I never really released on YouTube, which, I recorded, streamed on Twitch a long time ago, like 2015. So I want to kind of get all that out. And then ideally, somewhat of a plan roadmap wise, I probably want to start doing best of highlights of kind of like my best moments, if you will. So at least to give you guys expectations, that's probably where I'll probably going down that route. Yeah. What else? Feel like I covered everything. In terms of this podcast in general, at least if you're listening on your favorite podcasting platforms, feel free to give a like, rate, subscribe, good or bad. Any feedback is definitely appreciated. I think that's gonna do it for episode 53 of Switches Sights. Again, thanks for listening and or watching it. And until next time, get your damn game on. Oh yeah.